Hello YouTubers, today's video is a drive up Anna Maria Island with a few point of interest stops. After the video, there'll be a look at the impact that the coronavirus made on the island. We started out by having lunch at the New Pass Grill and Bait Shop, which is located just on the other side of the bridge of Longboat Key on the south side of the island. The bait shop's quite unique with all the different hats donated by the different fishermen that have used the bait shop. The grill offers breakfast and lunch with a wide variety of homemade items and fresh fish on its menu, all at a very reasonable price. Since there isn't an interior dining room available, shaded seating is available on the dock. This makes it nice and relaxing to sit and watch the boats go by the channel while you're having lunch or even just a cold beer or soft drink. With all these features combined with the good food and the good prices, this makes it one of our favorite stops to visit and have lunch whenever we're on the Anna Maria Island. We try to make it here at least once or twice a year. Before heading towards the other end of the island, we take a short drive on the access road, which leads us down to a small park and also the Moat Aquarium as well as a marina. On the left, next to the marina, there's also the Salty Dog restaurant, which also has some very good seafood. On the right is the access to the Moat Aquarium, as well as Ski Rees. I think that's pronounced right. It's like a ski school where they do entertainment as far as doing ski tricks. During this season or this time of year, they hold exhibitions every Sunday at 2 o'clock at no charge to anybody who wants to watch it. On the right is the access to the aquarium. This is a must-see anytime you're in the Bradenton or Sarasota area. As we turn right on the access road across from the marina, we start heading down towards the small park, which is located at the very end of the road. That park happens to overlook the Sarasota skyline. The park appears to be a small municipal park. They have bathrooms available, swings, a picnic table, and also it's dog or pet friendly. The parking seems to be plentiful, and the beach isn't that big. It's not really, I would say, suitable for swimming, but there often is somebody around the water area, and even you'll find some young kids fishing. For the more serious fishermen, there's a dedicated section of the park exclusively for fishing only. That too also has some cabanas, some swings, and some nice seating area where you can sit and relax. As you pull out of the park, on the right hand side there's a second building for the Moat Aquarium. As I said, the aquarium is a must-see, and if you would like to get more information on the Moat Aquarium, I'd look up their website. You'll find a lot of fascinating facts. As we head back up to the New Pass Restaurant and Grill, we turn right onto the main road that takes us all the way up to the end of the island. Here we're just passing over the New Pass Bridge. After crossing over the New Pass drawbridge, you'll be entering into the exclusive area of Longboat Key. Longboat Key is the home of several high-end resorts, golf clubs, or I should say country clubs, as well as some very high-end condominiums. To my knowledge, there's absolutely no public access or public beaches in this area. Since the drive up Longboat Key is approximately 15 minutes, I'm not going to video the whole thing, but you can kind of get an idea of the surrounding area and what it looks like. As we cross the next bridge after Longboat Key, we entered the township of Bradenton Beach, and on the left would be the park of Coquina Beach. Directly across from Coquina Public Beach is a public boat launch. It's only my opinion, but it's my belief that both Coquina Beach Park area as well as the public launch has got more available parking spaces than any of the other beaches on the island. Even though we've never had trouble finding parking on Coquina Beach, they even have a project going right now to add another 1,000 spots. Just like the other public beaches on the island, unfortunately there is no overnight parking for RVers. As I stated earlier, on any given day I have rarely found a situation where I have not been able to park, although a few friends of ours that we have camped with have said to the contrary, that there has been limited parking for them. One thing I might add about the parking on Anna Maria Island, that it's all free. There is no metered or paid parking on this island that we're aware of as of this date. Yes, I am backing into my parking spot. It's a little idiosyncrasy of my own. I just don't feel as comfortable backing out of a spot as I do as driving straight forward. And with the aid of the backup mirror or the backup camera, I seem to do pretty good. I would say Coquina Beach is probably one of the larger of the three beaches. And with Coquina Beach, there's a lot of activities and facilities available for you. There's a beach restaurant where you can get anything from mixed drinks to beer or soft drinks. They have rentals for chairs and umbrellas. They even have live music on occasion. Also, during the week, on Sundays and on Wednesdays from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m., they have a craft show that just lines the pathway right behind the beach where you can do all the shopping you like. The day I shot these was on a Saturday, so there wasn't any craft show. But one of the best parts about the entire area not only is the cafe, but the beaches. The beaches are something that you have to behold. The sand is nice and soft. The water is fresh and clear. It's one of my favorite places to be every time I'm in the area. In fact, I'd have to say my favorite pastime is just to sit on Coquina Beach or one of the other beaches, listen to Jimmy Buffett, and just sit back and enjoy the warm breeze and the fresh, clear water. One of the things I have to point out about Coquina Beach is the northbound traffic in front of the beach. As the afternoon gets later, you'll find the traffic gets longer. And driving up the beach northbound towards the other beaches such as Cortez Beach and Holmes Beach can be rather frustrating because the traffic is pretty much bumper to bumper for a few miles. Right next to Coquina Beach is Cortez Beach. The disadvantage about Cortez Beach, or the difference between Cortez Beach and the other beaches, is that the parking's a little bit more limited and there's no bathhouses or concessions that you can take advantage of. However, the beaches are just as nice and the water is just as clear. One of the advantages of Cortez Beach is that the parking is right next to the beach as well as located right in this heart of the business district of Bradenton Beach. Even though you have the absence of the concession stands, you do have just a short walk to the local restaurants and bars. As you enter the business district of Bradenton Beach, you'll be approaching the Bridge Street Circle. That blue building, by the way, on the left is the local Moose Lodge. Now, going right down Bridge Street, you'll be approaching the Anna Maria Oyster Bar and Pier. This is also one of our favorite spots as they have great seafood and great views. In fact, if they offer it on special, I would highly recommend the wolffish. On the way to the pier down Bridge Street, you'll find quite a few gift shops and clothing shops and some restaurants and bars. I have to caution you though that even though it looks relatively empty right now, parking can be rather scarce here.
I wonder if prices will come down a little bit for boat rides and stuff if they're hurting. Probably not. Is there a spot up there? Maybe not.
As I said, parking is limited and sometimes you can find it on the pier. Once you're parked, the walk out to the pier and to the restaurant is quite scenic. It's shaded during the daytime and well lit in the evening. Next to the restaurant, there's a gift shop as well as a bait shop. The bait shop also has fishing poles that you can rent, which allows you to fish on the pier for free. Fish cleaning stations with running water is also located on the pier for your convenience. At the end of the pier, you can sit and swing, have a picnic, fish, or watch the Cortez Street drawbridge raise and lower for the oncoming boat traffic. There are also dolphin sighting tours that you can book from the pier as well. Or you can just sit outside of the restaurant and enjoy a dozen oysters. The key lime pie is also pretty good as well. The next few shots are going to be sunset shots out at Holmes Beach. Holmes Beach, even though slightly smaller than Coquina, is probably one of the busier beaches on the island. As you'll see in the next few shots, Holmes Beach is probably best known for their sunsets. Unlike so many other locations, at Holmes Beach it's not hard to find a spot to get a good look of the sunset. There's also an extended concession with gift shop, ice cream, and food, as well as music that's played on the weekend evenings. Of course, the sunset makes it all worthwhile. Just a little bit north of Holmes Beach is the business district. There you'll find more gift shops, boat charters, restaurants, bars, as well as some tobacco shops and just regular shops where you can pick up either liquor or souvenirs. As you head north down the road, you'll find a lot of smaller condos and rental properties and private homes. This area is what's known as the old Anna Maria Island area. As we approach the township of Anna Maria and enter the business district, you'll start to see a lot more golf carts. There's several locations on the aisle where you can rent either a scooter, a four-passenger golf cart, or multi-passenger golf cart that you can cruise around on. They're all legally licensed to run on the streets. In fact, most residents on the island usually have a golf cart, especially if they're down on the Anna Maria Township end. Turn off of Gulf Drive onto Pine Avenue, you'll be heading directly into the central district of Anna Maria. This is where you get a combination of the small town effect with the true island feel. In Anna Maria, you won't find any buildings over a single story tall. Also, most of the homes are in bright colors or pastels to kind of mix in with the island look. And the shops are all wide open and full of a lot of artifacts that you can pick up. Pine Drive ends right at the Anna Maria Island Pier. The Anna Maria Island Pier is quite historic and unfortunately was seriously damaged during Hurricane Irma. Since the hurricane, the pier has been under total reconstruction with several delays and is expected to be open sometime in 2020. Until that time, all you can get is shots from the distance, but when it does open up, it's going to be quite a sight to see. I would highly recommend looking up the history of the pier on Anna Maria Island, as it's going to be quite informative. In my opinion, the best place to eat on the island would be the waterfront restaurant. Even though it may seem a little pricey, it has a very large menu with a large variety of items to choose from, whether you're just looking for a lunch, snack, or a full course meal. They also have a very good wine list and a very nice cocktail bar. Trust me, if you like fried green tomatoes, these are to die for. Now, to get to the very end of the island, you have to take North Bay Boulevard, which starts at the end of the pier. This road runs all the way out to the end of the island through a residential area. Also along the way, you'll find a bayfront park as well as a rod and reel pier restaurant. The rod and reel actually runs parallel with the Anna Maria Island Pier, and you can see it from a distance. The seating is limited and they only have beer and wine, but the food is good and it's a great place to sit and watch the water. You may have noticed during this road trip that you'll see the buses, or else it's actually known as the Anna Maria Island Trolley. This trolley is totally free of charge and runs north and south on the island. However, the times can't really be depended upon too much because when you get down to Coquina Beach, it too has to sit in heavy traffic. However, if you're patient, it's a good way to travel back and forth from one end to the other, as well as see the sights and not worry too much about the driving. Bayfront Park is not a real fancy park. It's a municipal park, but it does have a lot of nice amenities, such as a bathhouse and bathrooms, picnic tables, pavilions. The beach isn't really large, and the shore seems to be a little bit on the rocky side.
Are you glad to know about this bean point now, honey?
I did a little checking, and if you're interested in purchasing a place on the island, especially down by Anna Maria, you're going to find that the cost usually is right around 4 to 5 million on the water, and if you want to save a little money inland, it's usually about 1 to 3 million. Basically, it just depends on how much you want to pay to get that great view. I do believe that most of the places are available for rent, and my guess is maybe about 1,000 a night. That would only be my estimate. If you turn right off of North Bay Boulevard onto Amanda Road, that'll take you right up to the parking lot of the Rod and Reel Pier. As you turn left onto North Shore Drive, you head into the residential area. That'll take you to one of the well-known secrets of the island, which is Bean Point. Since there isn't any real public parking or parking area for Bean Point, what you have to do is to drive through the neighborhood, usually within a block or two, where you can park legally on the street. From the place that you park, you walk to one of the several access points, which is marked by signage that says Public Beach Access. These places are all located in between residential homes and are usually about 6 to 8, maybe 10 foot wide. The only way you can tell if it's a beach access for the public is by the signage at the beginning of the path. Bean Point looks almost as though it should be private. However, it is a public beach. One thing that you have to be aware of is that it is a high risk for riptides. That's primarily because this is the point where Tampa Bay meets the Gulf of Mexico. It's at that point is where the riptides are quite common and the most dangerous. Depending on where you access or which path you take, the path is usually varies in length. Sometimes it could only be just a matter of the equivalent of a half a block or a couple of 100 yards. Other times it could be quite extensive because when you get through the path, you have a large beach to walk over. In our case, basically at the end of this path, there's just a short bridge, and as you cross the bridge, you're right on the beach. Again, because you're in a residential area and you're passing through between a couple of private homes, you want to use some courtesy and just stay quiet as possible without making a lot of noise or disturbance to the neighbors that you're passing by. Another thing to keep in mind that on this particular beach, just like Cortez Beach, there is no restrooms and no concession. So basically you're on your own. However, you'll find a lot of people who will bring coolers out so they can enjoy their refreshments, and they also have little tents or something that provides shade for themselves. There are plenty of reminders that you do have a riptide and you have to use caution when you're swimming. Pictures in this video does not do this justice. This is probably one of the prettiest sights or beaches that you'll ever find. The sand I would compare with Siesta Key, which at one time was voted as the #1 beach in the United States. For good reason, believe it or not, this is probably one of the best kept secrets of Anna Maria Island. Just an example, this is what you see during spring break. Not that many people on the beach. The next few shots following this video is going to be that of Bean Point. And this is just before the closure of after the Contravirus. Immediately following these pictures of the beach at Bean Point will be the video of the after effects after the beach closing due to the Contravirus. I won't be showing the video of the incomplete island, but you will see some of the effects and how it's affected the beaches and how the driving or the traffic has really slowed down to practically nothing. Now starts the video of the beach closings after the virus and the effects it has on the island. We're on is State Road 64, otherwise known as Manatee, and we're approaching the causeway. If you notice on the left, you'll see police officers, and all the way down the strip on the right, you'll see the beach closed signs. So basically, this entire stretch of the road is usually bumper to bumper, especially this time of day that we're on it. Usually it'll take you at least 15 to 20 minutes just to get across this few miles of road. The causeway is a common area used by people who like to bring their pets. It also has beach houses and picnic areas. Even though the beach isn't very sandy, it's still a fun place to go, and there's always a lot of parking. Again, it's very hard to get used to the amount of traffic that's not on this causeway. In fact, typically you have to get out to the island before 10 o'clock in the morning. Otherwise, it'll take you as much as 2 hours to drive a 15-mile strip. When I filmed this, even though the beaches were closed, the boat launches were still open. However, about a week later, they even closed down the boat launches because they found that too many people were going out to the sandbars and rafting the boats next to each other and not really observing the 6-foot rule. By the way, on the right is a new condominium construction going on where they start at 400,000 plus per unit, just in case you're interested. We do have a little short delay while we're waiting for the drawbridge to go down on the road to Anna Maria Island. As soon as we cross the bridge and we're on the island, there's all kind of indications that all the beaches are closed, including large LED signs telling you just exactly that. As we approach Holmes Beach, you can see the closed signs are up and the gates are closed, making it quite obvious that you're not allowed onto the beach. Although we do see some people kind of risking it and walking out towards that way. Unfortunately, there are rangers and officers in that area which will be chasing you right back out again. We did learn, though, through talking to several of the residents around here, that they can't be stopped from walking on the wet sand, meaning that if somebody enters the beach from a private entrance and then they can walk down on the wet sand across the beach and not be persecuted or chased off. Basically, what they're saying is if the sand is dry, then it's part of the beach. If it's wet, it's part of the waterfront and it's open to the public. We have a very similar situation in Michigan, whereas the Michigan lakes, if it's a public lakes with a public access, boats can actually pull up and moor right in front of somebody's house, which is on the shore. The fact of the matter is, they may have beachfront, but they don't always have water rights. In fact, on our lake, there are some people who are building homes right next to the sandbar, which is used by everybody on the lake, and they've tried to put buoys up. The DNR has stopped that and made them remove those buoys. In fact, they even tried to put no trespassing signs up, and that too they were told to remove. Just a little piece of information I felt I could share with you and kind of give you an example. Again, we're driving through the township of Holmes Beach, where it's very desolate. The traffic and the amount of cars in the parking lots is a fraction of what you normally see on any given day. Again, as you can see on the right, there's plenty of signs letting everybody know that the beaches are closed on the island. Occasionally we'll find other signs up on the road stating that scheduled events have been canceled for one reason or another, basically because of the virus. The latest word that we've gotten is that anybody who, as far as the residents of Anna Maria Island, if they had people scheduled to come out and rent their property and it was canceled, they are currently not allowed to release that out until after the virus scare is over. In fact, we've also gotten words that the keys are basically shut down and they have checkpoints stopping people to make sure that they're either residents or currently on a month-long lease. If they're not, they're asked to leave the islands. Driving through Bradenton Beach is no different than any other place on the island. There's hardly anybody on the roads or walking along the side of the beach areas. Stores and the restaurants, at least at that particular time, were empty. Now there's a new state regulation telling that all restaurants can only be takeout or delivery only, so there is no dining inside. Just as we get through the construction where you normally have cars packed along the side of the road, side by side, it's all tape blocking anybody from parking in that area. There's quite a few state cars, county cars, and the sheriff's department, basically ensuring that nobody slips in there under the wire. Even the work is stopped on the new lifeguard stations. And as we approach Coquina Beach, it's basically the same thing. The beaches are all totally closed down and absolutely no cars are in the parking lot. In fact, the gates are closed and nobody's allowed in there. Of course, the craft shows that are held on Sundays and Wednesdays have also been stopped until further notice. In fact, on any given Sunday or Wednesday from 10 till 4, I would guesstimate that there's at least 200 different vendor booths along the side of the beach. That's telling you that there's basically 200 people out of work or deprived of the income that they would normally get on those 2 days. Not to mention the concession stand and all the help work. You can't see it from the dash cam. However, as we cross the bridge that goes over to Longboat Key, on both sides of the bridge there was a lot of boat traffic and boats rafted together on the sandbars. This, however, has been stopped as they're not allowing anybody to raft together, and the sheriff's department and the boat patrols are out there ensuring that there isn't any congregating out there in those sandy areas. As I stated before, at the time that we did the drive through, all the beaches were closed, but the boat launches were still open. On the left, this happens to be the boat launch near Holmes Beach. And as you can see, the parking lot is not only full, but the trucks and boat trailers are lined up on both sides of the road. Since this filming, there is no longer any boats or boat trailers in these lots as they've closed the launches as well. Again, here's another look at the empty causeway and parking lots. This is really hard to see as it's one of our favorite spots to stop, especially when we've got Chester with us. And as I said, here too, there's plenty of law enforcement and signs and crime tape up to prevent anybody from pulling in and trying to take advantage of the empty beach. I know the shots were rather limited. However, I hope you got a sense of the effect of what this virus has done to the state of Florida and the surrounding beaches, not to mention the business and all the tourist trade. Being from Michigan, the best part about it down here is the fact that the temperature has been up in the 80s, and fortunately our pool is still open in the RV park that we're staying at because it's basically a privately owned park. That too may end, but hopefully it'll continue to stay open as long as possible. I hope you enjoyed this tour of Anna Maria Island from the south end to the north end. I also hope that you got a feeling for some of the effects that this contravirus has had on the island as well as the state of Florida. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And most of all, thanks for watching.